Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Abhishek Raj from Department of Pharmacology. We will continue our lecture on class 2 antiarrhythmic drugs, that is beta blockers. Beta blockers, which are preferred in arrhythmia, are propranolol, esmolol, and sotalol. Let's study about these drugs in detail. Propranolol. Propranolol is non-selective beta blocker, that is beta 1 blocker plus beta 2 blocker. Propranolol is membrane stabilizing agent, that is it has sodium channel blocking activity, so local anesthetic property. Advantage of propranolol: it can be used in treatment of arrhythmia. Disadvantage: it cannot be used in glaucoma due to risk of corneal anesthesia. Side effect of propranolol and contraindication. Propranolol is non-selective beta blocker, that is beta 1 blocker plus beta 2 blocker. So beta 2 receptors are found on blood vessels and result in vasodilatation. Beta 2 receptors are also found on bronchus and result in bronchodilation. So if we block beta 2 receptors by non-selective beta blocker like propranolol, there will be blockage of vasodilatation, so that result in vasoconstriction, and blocking beta 2 receptors result in blockage of bronchodilation, so that result in bronchoconstriction. Since this drug causes vasoconstriction, propranolol or non-selective beta blocker is contraindicated in peripheral vascular disease, and non-selective beta blocker like propranolol cause bronchoconstriction, so it is contraindicated in bronchial asthma. Also, it is contraindicated in COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, as it causes bronchoconstriction. Non-selective beta blocker like propranolol is contraindicated in diabetes mellitus. In diabetes mellitus, beta blockers cause hypoglycemic unawareness except sweating. So in diabetes mellitus, beta blockers will cause hypoglycemic unawareness except sweating. Why sweating is spared? Because sweating is mediated by sympathetic cholinergic stimulation, that is M3 receptor stimulation. Now hypoglycemia is a medical emergency, so there is sympathetic system stimulation. So this sympathetic system stimulation will stimulate beta 1 receptors on the heart, so there will be increase in heart rate resulting in tachycardia, palpitation, and these are the warning symptoms of hypoglycemia: tachycardia, palpitation. Now sympathetic system stimulation will stimulate beta 2 receptors on skeletal muscle, and that result in tremor. That is also the warning symptom of hypoglycemia: tremor. Now sympathetic system stimulation will also stimulate the beta 2 receptors on liver, that result in gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. What is gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis? Gluconeogenesis is the formation of glucose from non-carbohydrate substrate like amino acid, lactate, glycerol. And glycogenolysis is breakdown of glycogen into glucose. So both result in increase in glucose. Now if we give propranolol in diabetes mellitus patient or non-selective beta blocker in diabetes mellitus patient, so non-selective beta blocker is beta 1 blocker plus beta 2 blocker. So these drugs will block beta 1 receptors on heart, and they will also block beta 2 receptors on skeletal muscle. So warning symptoms of hypoglycemia like tachycardia, palpitation, tremor will be masked. So at the time of hypoglycemia, patient will not exhibit the warning symptoms of hypoglycemia like tachycardia, palpitation, tremor. Now this non-selective beta blocker will also block beta 2 receptor on liver. So what will happen? Gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis will be blocked. So increase in glucose by liver will be blocked. So compensatory mechanism to reverse hypoglycemia by sympathetic system stimulation will be blocked. Next example of beta blocker which is used in arrhythmia is esmolol. So esmolol is beta 1 blocker, that is cardioselective beta blocker. What are the side effect and contraindication of esmolol? In other words, what are the side effect and contraindication of beta 1 blocker, that is cardioselective beta blocker? So beta 1 receptors are present on heart. So beta 1 blocker will result in decrease in heart rate, decrease in conduction of heart, decrease in contraction of heart. So decrease in heart rate. So beta 1 blocker is contraindicated in sick sinus syndrome. What is sick sinus syndrome? In sick sinus syndrome there is problem with sinoatrial node, SA node. And in sick sinus syndrome there will be sinus bradycardia in which heart rate will be too slow, or sinus arrest in which heart rate stops, or there can be tachybrady syndrome. So tachybrady syndrome, there will be bradycardia which alternate with tachycardia. So slow heart rate alternates with fast heart rate. Now decreased conduction of heart is the other side effect of beta 1 blocker. So beta 1 blocker is contraindicated in AV block, atrioventricular block. In AV block, impulse conduction is delayed or blocked from atria to ventricle. Other side effect of beta 1 blocker, decreased contraction of heart. So it is contraindicated in acute congestive heart failure. In acute congestive heart failure, there is decreased contraction of heart. So we will not give cardioselective beta blocker, that is beta 1 blocker, because beta 1 blocker will cause further decrease in contractility of heart. Esmolol is given intravenously for treatment of arrhythmia. Esmolol is shortest acting beta blocker and it is metabolized by plasma esterase. Next example of beta blocker which is used in arrhythmia is sotalol. Sotalol is non-selective beta blocker. It is also an example of water-soluble beta blocker. Since it is water-soluble beta blocker, it is contraindicated in renal failure. Water-soluble drugs are eliminated mainly via kidney. That's why it is contraindicated. Now what are the uses of beta blockers? So first use is supraventricular tachycardia. Example of supraventricular tachycardia, atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. So in the management of atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter, first rhythm control or rate control. For rhythm control, amiodarone is drug of choice. In rhythm control, we convert the atrial fibrillation back to sinus rhythm. So amiodarone is drug of choice for rhythm control. And in rate control, we have to control the ventricular rate. So beta blockers are drug of choice for rate control. Other drugs used to control the rate, that is ventricular rate, verapamil, which is calcium channel blocker, and digoxin. So these all drugs like beta blocker, verapamil and digoxin, they are AV node blocking agents. These AV node blocking agents make the AV node more refractory. So ventricular rate decreases. That's why these drugs are used to decrease the ventricular rate, that is rate control in atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. Other uses of beta blocker: idiopathic ventricular tachycardia. Beta blockers are drug of choice, and it is also used in long-term management of congenital long QT syndrome. Beta blockers are again drug of choice for long-term management of congenital long QT syndrome. Now let's study about the drug interaction of beta blocker. Beta blocker should not be given with verapamil. Verapamil is example of calcium channel blocker. So why beta blocker should not be given with verapamil? Let's study about this reason. But before studying about this reason, let's study what happens first in pacemaker cell normally. So in pacemaker cell, that is cell of SA node and cell of AV node, on the surface we have beta 1 adrenergic receptor, and this beta 1 adrenergic receptor is serpentine receptor or 7-pass receptor. So when epinephrine or norepinephrine binds with beta 1 adrenergic receptor, there is stimulation of G stimulatory protein that results in increase in cyclic AMP that causes increase in protein kinase A. So phosphorylation of calcium channel occur, and that causes increased calcium influx in phase 4. So increased calcium influx in phase 4 causes SA node potential. That causes slope of phase 4, and as a result, impulse generation from SA node occurs. Due to increased impulse generation from SA node, heart rate increases, and that is known as positive chronotropy. This is the one consequence of binding of epinephrine or norepinephrine with beta 1 adrenergic receptor. Now what happens? What is the other consequence? So when epinephrine or norepinephrine binds with beta 1 adrenergic receptor, there is stimulation of G stimulatory protein. So cyclic AMP increases, protein kinase A increases, and there is phosphorylation of calcium channel that causes increased calcium influx in phase 4. Increased calcium influx in phase 4 causes increased conduction through AV node. So impulse will pass from atria to ventricle, and this increased conduction is known as positive dromotropy. This is happening normally by the effect of epinephrine or norepinephrine binding with beta 1 adrenergic receptor. Now if we give beta blocker, what will happen? Beta blocker will inhibit the binding of epinephrine or norepinephrine with beta 1 adrenergic receptor. So there will be decrease in G stimulatory protein, cyclic AMP decreases, protein kinase A decreases, and there will be decreased phosphorylation of calcium channel. And this decreased phosphorylation of calcium channel decreases calcium influx in phase 4. At the same time, verapamil, if given along, will inhibit the calcium channel directly. And this direct inhibition of calcium channel by verapamil decreases the calcium influx in phase 4 to a larger extent. Now because of this added effect, one because of beta blocker and other because of verapamil, calcium influx in phase 4 will decrease too much. And this too much decrease in calcium influx in phase 4 will decrease SA node potential to a larger extent. And that causes slope of phase 4 to decrease, and impulse generation from SA node will decrease too much. That result in too much decrease of heart rate, that is known as severe bradycardia, and sometimes asystole, means heart ceases to beat. Now too much decrease in calcium influx in phase 4 also causes too much decrease of conduction through AV node, and too much decrease in conduction through AV node may result in AV block, atrioventricular block, in which impulse will not pass from atria to ventricle. So beta blocker and verapamil are not given together because they can cause severe bradycardia, asystole, and AV block, atrioventricular block. So this is the reason behind this drug interaction, that beta blocker and verapamil should not be given together. Now class 3 antiarrhythmic drug. Class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs are potassium channel blocker. Examples include bretidium, ibutilide, doftilide, amiodarone, dronedarone, sotalol, vernaculant. Now to conclude, class 2 antiarrhythmic drug, that is beta blockers, examples are propranolol, ismolol, sotalol. Propranolol is membrane stabilizing agent. Propranolol is contraindicated in peripheral vascular disease, contraindicated in bronchial asthma, contraindicated in COPD, and contraindicated in diabetes mellitus. Ismolol. What are the contraindication of ismolol? 6 sinus syndrome, ismolol is contraindicated. In atrial ventricular block, ismolol is contraindicated. And in acute CHF, acute congestive heart failure, ismolol is contraindicated. And sotalol is contraindicated in renal failure. Uses of beta blocker, we have already studied. Beta blockers are drug of choice for rate control in case of atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. Beta blockers are drug of choice for idiopathic ventricular tachycardia. And beta blockers are drug of choice for long-term management of congenital long QT syndrome. Not drug interaction of beta blocker. Beta blocker should not be given with verapamil. And next is class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs, which include potassium channel blockers, and the examples are bretidium, ibutilide, doftilide, amiodarone, dronedarone, sotalol, vernaculant. That brings us to the end of this lecture. We will continue with class 3 antiarrhythmic drugs in our next lecture. Thank you.